All right. So, thank you everyone for being here. I'm assuming now we are connected. You can see the screen. The screen is really just a pretext for this conversation. So, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And thank you to everyone who is joining from the ethers later on. This is going to be a bit over an hour, and we're going to be talking about the journey of the soul and about connecting with our inner being, our inner voice. There are a lot of questions these days, depending on where your entry point is in this world, in this space. So, what is the inner voice? What is the higher self? Why am I not connecting? And I really am hoping that this conversation today, well, the presentation today, will really help you understand a little bit better what's happening and perhaps just help you understand a bit more what's going on. So, what we're going to cover today, and we are 8 minutes over time, so I'm going to do my best to go over all of this in an hour to make sure that everyone gets to have the whole experience in the 90 minutes. We're going to be covering the journey of the soul, how to navigate this lifetime, because we are incredible beings, unlimited beings, and we are incarnating in this body. So we are going through a journey of forgetting who we really are. And of course, especially in this lifetime, and we're going to talk about the new earth and what's happening and why this lifetime is different than other lifetimes. But I won't insist too much on that. I just think that I really need to mention it because in this specific lifetime, we are meant to remember who we really are. And we came here knowing that we will forget. But we also came here knowing that we will remember and knowing that we're going to meet and ignite in each other the curiosity, the remembering that we're going to recognize each other from other lifetimes. And we knew we were going to come here. We will remember. It is destined. It is how it's meant to be. And we are here to create a new version of Earth, what people refer to as the new Earth. And in order to do this, because we knew that we would forget who we really are, we had this inner compass that would connect us with our soul, with our superconscious, the higher self, with our true nature. And that inner compass is the intuition and the inner voice. And that is why when you tell someone about intuition work, it sounds a little bit woo, or it sounds something optional, but it is not, because it's the channel that we use to connect with our soul and to remember what we came here to do and who we are. We're also going to be talking about the mind, because the problem is once we are here, we forget who we are. And we're going to be talking about blocks and everything that gets in the way, limiting beliefs, parts. We're going to go briefly over the inner child, but essentially, everybody has an inner voice and we all can access that inner voice. And if we can understand what is getting in the way and how to address those things getting in the way, and if we understand that our connection with our inner voice, with our higher self is a given, then really everything can open up ahead of us. So it's so important to understand what is in the way, especially if we're struggling a little bit or we are not where we're hoping we would be. So I will touch as well on hypnosis, energy work, essentially because these are very natural states that we go through in every single day. And when we are in these altered states of consciousness that are very natural, that is a resource that we have inside of ourselves, we can tap even deeper into our soul, into our intuition. And I want to go through various things and various tools just to tell you how many ways, how many entries there are to the same place, to our inner being. So, of course, everything at the end will finish with a very brief meditation connecting with your future self, and will connect with your future self not so far down the line. So, if you have to miss that part, because I know a couple of you have to go offline, please just watch the recording later and see what you get. So, I'll do this very briefly because I could talk about it for a really long time. But essentially, Stephen was joking about me getting corporate with the slides, and I actually prefer to not have slides, but I am coming from a corporate background, and a few years ago I left that. And simply put, I did all the right things. I did everything that I should have done. I thankfully left a PhD in computer science and I dropped out with my master's because it would have been really painful to go through a PhD. It wasn't my nature. I am very curious. I love to explore. I love to understand and I love to keep changing. And it's just my nature. So I ended up building this career in computer science, program management, and I could see how that would take me to a place where I was very satisfied, let's say. But I felt that something was really missing. And if I did not explore that was missing, then I would never do it. So thankfully, I ended up in a very, very deep depression at some point, and um, it was um, it was really a place where I had been before, but this time I did not have any sort of hope. And I had to get myself with a lot of personal development work. I had to really get myself out of that place because it felt to me that I would never be able to make it. And I did so much personal development work. And after about half a year, and when I was on the upside of the things, and I started to see some hope, and I started to feel that perhaps everything will work out, it occurred to me that I've spent more than 10 years at that point really doing again all the things and reading all the books and doing workshops and going to Byron Katie. And I love Byron Katie and it changed my life. But I realized that I had always, okay, let's admit someone else who just joined. So I realized that I had always, though, tried to find the answers outside of myself. And I was so exhausted. And as I was reflecting back at my life and realizing that I could never make a choice, a decision by myself, I always needed someone else's opinion. I started to wonder, how do people find their own answers? How is that even possible? And I started to wonder, what is this intuition that everybody's talking about? I had no clue what that was. And this was just a few years ago. So, as it happens, just long story short, I was decluttering my phone. I was about to delete a podcast. I had deleted so many. And the second I was about to hit delete, something inside of me, my inner voice that I didn't know I had, told me, perhaps you should listen to one episode before deleting, because there was this very wonderful young lady sitting on a beach and she looked very relaxed. So, sure enough, I listened to one episode and she's talking about flowing and the inner voice and the last round of a facilitator, intuition facilitator training. And I hopped right on the training. I didn't care what it was. I had to do some emotional regulation because the price was really, really high. I had never paid so much money for anything, but it just felt right. And I will forever be grateful to that younger self who made that decision because it changed my life. You see, I entered this world where I'm right now, and you're going to see from this conversation today how it went everywhere. But um, because I started with my intuition, I always checked how it felt inside of me. And even if it didn't make sense to other people, I made the decisions from a place of inner knowing. So, briefly put, um, I started with that inner voice facilitator training. I was not interested in facilitating. I then followed with becoming a clinical hypnotherapist with rapid transformational therapy, which is such a powerful way to resolve issues at their core root. And I was working with ladies who I was working on all sorts of topics like addiction, infertility, miscarriage, sexual abuse, overeating, absolutely anything, depression, anxiety. And I noticed something very interesting. About 20% of those that I was working with were going into past lives. Now, I never had any background on past lives, and the only background I had was that a few months before I found the journey the Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. And it was the first book I ever read that I thought it made perfect sense. And if that didn't make sense, nothing here would ever make sense. So that was my only background. And when people started going into past lives, sitting on a chair across the world on a Zoom talking to me, not in very deep hypnosis, because the veil is thinning right now, turns out. I didn't know what to do with that. I asked around. No one understood what I was talking about. No one was getting those type of sessions. So that long story short, I found out Dolores Cannon. I never looked back. I entered Dolores Cannon and deep hypnosis work because I wanted to handle past lives. People started going into galactic lives, into the inner earth, into lives as other beings, creator beings, angelic beings, and so on. So when you start getting that type of information for my personality, it was so exciting, and I'm still doing that work at the highest level right now. So where my journey took me and the reason why I did everything that I did is not because I thought I needed it. I did energy healing, which I was never interested in before. I always say I used to be like a brick. I heard someone say at some point that they were like a brick, they couldn't feel anything, and that's exactly how I used to be. But I did training after training after training because my inner voice told me, you have to do this. And because I read somewhere that it would help the intuition. And that's how I ended up doing so many things. And that is why today I can offer you a perspective of how everything is actually the same thing and how they're all interconnected and how all these are connecting us with who we really are. So, really, we are these incredible, powerful, unlimited beings. We are fractal of source that splits itself and goes down in vibration over many dimensions and densities. And the very, very tip of that, the very, very tip, the one point at the end of that, what we really are, is the consciousness that we come with into this body. But that is not who we are. We are absolutely incredible, powerful beings. But we come here and we forget. And then again, in this lifetime in particular, we are here to remember who we really are and to walk the journey back to our true nature and to own that and to embody that which we came here to express. The interesting thing is when I'm adding a story here from a deep hypnosis session because this is someone that I met and she had done a lot of trainings and she felt that she went through significant awakening experiences. And then she had one hypnosis session with me and she was absolutely in awe. She went her to her younger child as a 2-year old. And there are excerpts here from that part of the session with her because as a 2-year old, she knew that she was an incredible being. She knew that she knows everything. She says, I know everything. I know I'm here. In other words, she knew her life mission, her purpose, what she needs to do here. And she knew that she will forget. And then in that scene, she was looking at her parents, both of her parents, and she felt very sad because she could tell that they already forgot who they really were. They forgot who they were. They forgot their past. They forgot what is out there, meaning the universe, their true essence of who they are. But she did not. As a 2-year old, she knew that she was more than a human. And although she was just two, she knew that she was big and powerful. And also, she was aware that although these lifetimes for us could seem like 100 years, and at times it could seem that they are moving so slow and it never ends, this lifetime never ends. For our soul on the other side of it, it feels like 10 seconds. But you see, we come here and as children, we remember who we are. And particularly after around the age of 6, 7 to 10, we forget. For the new generations coming in right now, they remember and they come to parents who allow them to remember. And they will not forget, most of them, if they're in the right circumstance. So the times are changing. But our generation, everyone here on the call, and probably everyone listening to this after, we forgot. So it's just a matter of remembering who we really are. And the reason why I talk so much about the intuition, the inner voice, the inner knowing, connecting with our inner being, is because really the intuition, the inner voice, is the communication channel with our soul. Sometimes people ask, what is the difference between the intuition and the higher self? There is no difference. It's just where we are able to connect to our soul. Are we connecting here in this 3D reality, navigating life? That is the intuition. Are we in a session being facilitated and being taught how to access the intuition? You go much, much deeper. And people have even accessed working with me past lives or releasing past life trauma. The veil is really thinning, and that awareness is becoming more available to us right now. But then if you do a deeper hypnosis sessions, or I suppose if you do plant medicine or other type of experiences, then you can really connect with different aspects of your soul. You can get out of this experience and be out there. It really depends on what you need in the moment. The difference between plant medicine and other type of experiences and what we are talking about here today is, of course, everyone should do whatever they feel called to do. However, when you strengthen and understand and nourish the communication with your inner voice, it is a very sustainable way, and it grows and it compounds so much faster than you think it does. It will. In fact, someone that I worked with for a few months, who just quit her job, I seem to be an expert in helping people quit their life. And that's what it does when you're really connected with what you really want and what you are here to do. Those type of decisions are much easier. But after a few months, you told me that I will be here, and a part of me wanted to believe I will make it, and I wasn't really sure. But I'm leaving you this message so you know I can't believe I'm here after a few months. I could have never done it a few months ago. And that is why I'm also opening the containers that I am, and specifically the intuition training, because when we are doing all this work in a group, everyone learns from everyone else. And when one person clears, everyone clears. And it's so powerful to get together. And so when so many more of us achieve the same result at the same time, it spreads so much faster as well. But everybody has an inner voice. And everybody can and is connected with their inner voice. It's just a matter of understanding what language your inner voice speaks to you in, understanding what is blocking you, learn how to clear the blocks. And ultimately, what this does is building trust between your mind and the inner voice. Because you see, your mind is the one that has been running the show here. If you're like me for almost 44 years, well, thankfully, it's under 40 at this point, but the mind keeps trying to run the show. And when the new kid on the block shows up, and it's called the inner voice, and you're learning how to go even deeper into that connection, the mind and all the parts of you that have always been there, that are trying to protect you, they will throw everything at you because they don't feel safe with this new voice. They don't understand, why are we now listening to this new perspective? What is this about? So you see, in the beginning, the mind can be very reluctant, but going through all these processes can help the mind build trust and start trusting the inner voice, which it will inevitably do, because it starts to realize that every time we listen to this inner knowing, we are only better off on the other side. Less fear, more clear, more aligned, more courageous. So you see, in the beginning, simply put, we consider that there's the inner voice and the mind, and we separate them. And we say that the inner voice is the loving part of you, the one that really wants the best for you, the one that loves you unconditionally, that believes in you, the part that thinks everything that you want is available to you. And then the mind, the ego mind, is a collection of all the fears you have ever gathered, that you have inherited from your lineage, through your DNA, through your aura when you were a child. All the collective subconscious wounds of the collective, all of that. In the beginning, we just call it the mind. But the more the mind heals, and the more it allows the inner voice to make decisions, the more it's willing to get a new perspective, the more the mind trusts the inner voice. Ultimately, we want to be in balance because everything is about being in balance. We're not talking here about allowing the inner voice to completely do everything it wants and us completely flowing without ever doing anything. No, the mind will do something, will do whatever feels that it needs to do in the moment, but it will be inspired action as opposed to the things you think you have to do, the right things, what others expect of you, the things that the mind would do out of here. Instead of that, is checking in with the inner voice and then taking inspired and aligned action, which will feel so much more effortless. And what is actually blocking this connection is there's so many things and they're stored everywhere. First of all the trauma is stored in the body, and that's what Eckhart Tolle refers to as the pain body. And I'm sorry, I actually never pronounced that I think correctly, but literally the pain is stored in the body. That's why when you feel triggered, you literally feel that your body is in pain. You may feel it in your heart, in your stomach. You will notice, and part of the training, you become an expert at it if you decide to join the training. But if the only thing that you do is you pick up Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and I used to know the page by heart because I used it so many times. Maybe it's 41 or something like that. But he talks about the pain body. And it is because we store, and there's so many books about it, we store everything in our body. But once you know that the trauma is stored in the body, and once you know that when you're having a thought, then that has a reaction, an emotional reaction in the body. And if you feel anxious or depressed, or you feel this heaviness in the body, most of us want to escape it. However, if you understand it is the pain body and it's getting triggered and you are safe, and even if you feel anxious or depressed or however you feel triggered, when you understand that you are safe, it's just your body showing you where it's stored. And if you know how to clear it, and if you can clear it, and it can take 7 minutes to clear it, it's so fast. Then, from that perspective, from a much calmer point, you can take different actions, different decisions. And so we store the trauma in our body, we store the fears in our body. Then there are limiting beliefs and core wounds that we pick up from our family, from the collective, and that can be the school, the country we grew up in, the city, the town where we were raised, or where we are living right now. And a lot of it is also from the collective consciousness. And if you're here in this presentation, or for whatever reason you're listening to this, you're probably a lot more connected to the collective than you know. So even knowing how to ask the question, is this mine? You will notice how probably 80%, 90% of the times the answer is no, and you can just drop it. But we are carrying these limiting beliefs. I'm not enough. Things never worked for me. We're carrying the core wounds. I'm defective. Something is wrong with me. I'm unlovable. We carry all these things in our subconscious. But once we identify and we understand what the root cause of our thoughts is, when we understand and we bring these up from the subconscious to the conscious, then we can transform. And especially in hypnotic states, you can reprogram these so much easier, because in those states, the mind is relaxed and it allows for something else, something new to come through. But literally, all the beliefs that we have are neural pathways that are the default neural pathways that get triggered every time a circumstance happens. So when you can reprogram those and create new ones, of course, you will take different action, you will see different results. And then it's so important to understand parts, because everything that ever happens to us, every traumatic event, everything that we did not appreciate that happened to us, in that moment, a part got formed that most likely tried to protect us, but is trying to protect us with the coping mechanisms of the age that we were when these parts were formed. And for most of us, most of these parts at the very, very place when they were created is in our childhood. So if there is a part that thinks you are not good enough and something happened when you're 2 years old, Every time reality happens, it hits that part and you behave and you literally think and you react like a 2-year-old. But when you know that that is what is happening, and when you understand and you even change the way you talk about reality and about your life, instead of saying maybe there's something wrong with me, you're able to say, well, there's just a part of me that's feeling triggered right now and it's offering me all these thoughts and I need to figure out what it needs. It's such a different feeling and vibration. And of course, it's about integrating these parts. And the part that absolutely has to be integrated so that we can move from a wounded child to a divine parent and be able to be parents to ourselves is the inner child. That can very easily be integrated and upgraded. So you see, there's so much happening. But the more you look at these things, the more clear the picture becomes. And all of these things are pieces of a puzzle that when you see and when you see them all together and even being able to identify them, it's already transmuting them to a certain degree. So you may have seen this before. Let me quickly check the time. I think we're probably fine. I'm going kind of fast because a few people mentioned they have to leave, and regardless, there'll be other opportunities to go through this. But I want to make sure we finish as close as possible to the 1 hour mark with the presentation. You've probably seen this before in various forms, and I added the feelings there because it was missing, which is so interesting. But we have a set of beliefs, and then a circumstance happens. Something happens, unexpected. According to our set of beliefs, we have certain thoughts because, like I said, the thoughts that we have the most are the strongest neural pathways that we have. So when something happens, it's not even a choice. That's the thought that happens. The thoughts are then triggering feelings, and now we start feeling things in our body. And if we don't know how to handle that, we may feel like something is awfully wrong. But if you know how to clear it, it's a whole other story. As a result of how we feel, we take action. We we do something about it, and then that has results, in other words, consequences. And when those consequences happen, and when we see the results of what we just did based on how we felt, based on how we were thinking, that only reinforces automatically by default the beliefs that we already have. So then we go, oh, I knew it. I knew this will happen. I could see this coming. I was right. Of course, we're always right because we're always expecting and looking for the same results. But knowing that we always go in this cycle by default, and in order to change something, we have to interrupt this cycle. This is our subconscious baseline, and the thoughts that we had today are, for the most part, 80, 90%, 85, 87, I forget. Most of the thoughts we have today are the thoughts that we had yesterday. If we want to get somewhere else, we have to be able to interrupt. And we can interrupt the thoughts, and you can do things like Byron Katie's The Work and really work on questioning your thoughts. You can check with the inner voice, and you essentially are able in that state. And it's very simple, and it's as simple as closing your eyes or journaling. And once you understand how simple it is, you can always check in, and that is how you get a different perspective. And if you're able to get a different perspective, and the more you can get that perspective, our brain cannot hold two conflicting beliefs at the same time. So if the mind thinks this is horrible and the inner voice shows you why this is good, and it keeps showing you and showing you and showing you that, you eventually will start believing that, because you cannot believe two conflicting thoughts at the same time. But you can change the thoughts, and you can choose better thoughts, and you can learn how to choose better thoughts in the morning, in the moment. And then you can do somatic processing. And when you feel something in the body, you can clear it. And I once carried something for months. I want to say half a year, but it's so hard to remember. And I knew nothing about any of this. It was horrible. I was going to sleep every night, and I was so triggered. I could feel it in my body. I was in so much pain. And one evening, I even went 1 month on a trip to Europe to see my family, because I thought maybe I just need a change of scenery, to only come back to New York. And then the evening I came back relieved, thinking that's all I needed to change the scenery. I lay down in bed and it hit me. It was right there, like it never left. Because you cannot run away from your pain body. You can't just ignore what wants to be seen. But in that moment, my inner voice, my higher self kicked in again. And it reminded me that at some point, I listened to a podcast that mentioned Eckhart Tolle helping you clear the suffering or something very, very vague. And I suddenly got out of the bed because I remembered I had the power of now, which I had never opened. It was right there. And my inner voice told me, open the book. And I thought, this is crazy. But I did it because I was desperate, to be honest. And I opened the book and I looked at the summary, at the content of the book. And I saw it right there, the pain body. And I thought to myself, it was so simple. I'm in pain. I'm in extreme pain. It feels that it's in my body. It has to be it. And I read that whole chapter and I read the instructions at the end that explains, which is what I said, page 41, could be something else. It's at the very end. It says, in summary, and I did every single thing. I read one sentence, I closed my eyes. I was able to, at some point, get behind myself. I don't know how else to explain it. I completely detached from that pain body. And in the place of all that darkness and desperation that it won't go away, I felt so much relief and so much joy. I couldn't sleep for 2 hours. It was so, I was so joyful. I can't explain it. And for half a year, I was not capable of feeling the same feeling again. So we sometimes think a mystical experience is seeing seeing an otherworldly being, an angelic, having something outside of ourselves give us an answer or a hope or reassurance. But actually, the most mystical experience is when you can connect with yourself and you can release release from yourself and change within yourself what is no longer working, and when you can find your own answers by going within. So this work is really incredibly powerful. And then of course you can change, you can interrupt the cycle at action level, and questioning the thoughts and releasing emotions, and all of this can be done in a very powerful way in hypnotherapy, because it quiets the mind and it goes right under the mind. And when the mind is unsuspecting and relaxed, it can do a lot of healing in the background. And if you know someone who absolutely needs help and you think, gosh, everyone should know this, I happen to agree that this is incredible information that took me years and years, and working with probably 2000 sessions at this point, or 2000 hours rather, working with clients on this. But if you know someone who really needs help and they just don't want to do anything, the energy healing is so powerful. And that's why I bring it here, and I bring it in the intuition training, and I show people also how to do it in just one session. It'll be so easy, because this is the energy healing is very powerful if someone has a lot of resistance, because it's very intelligent and it knows where it needs to go, and the mind doesn't even have to know what is happening. And when the mind doesn't know, it cannot oppose it. So I mentioned this pretty briefly. The reason I mentioned hypnosis is because we are always in hypnosis. We are in hypnosis when we're here listening to this, and it's not an active conversation. It's not a beta state. It's you're probably really drifting away and listening and drifting away a bit, unless you're doing something in the background. But hypnosis is very natural. We go through very deep hypnosis, as deep as we can, when we go to bed, when we wake up. When we watch TV, we're in hypnosis. If I close my eyes right now, I'm drifting away. I'm in a hypnotic state. When you watch TV, when you drive a car, it's all hypnosis. But in those hypnotic states, and understanding the various degrees of hypnotic states, in other words, alter state of consciousness, when the mind is more relaxed and the voice of your soul is stronger, and learning and feeling experientially how it feels to be in different states, whether it's a Kundalini activation, an inner voice session, whether it's a deep hypnosis session, whether it's you making a different choice and catching that limiting belief and deciding no more. It's so powerful to be aware of, because everything, it's really the same thing, and it's that is a portal to your inner being, to your soul. But in hypnosis, the mind is very relaxed and it's more suggestible, and you can just quantum leap and you can have the results that it would otherwise take you years to have or months to have. So that's why I feel so strongly about bringing everything in and showing you how everything is, because depending on the circumstance, you may resort to one or another. But when you understand that everything is the same, when you understand we live in a time when the veil is thinning and you can access, if you know how to, and if you keep going through these states for a little bit, say 3 months, every week, then it will be so much more accessible to you and it will be so much more on the surface than you expect it to be. And of course, when you're relaxed, you can access, your soul to a much deeper level than if you are wide awake with the eyes open. But I personally had the most downloads with my eyes open and not even being hypnotized, just walking through the park at this point. So it's very interesting because it evolves so fast. And then just another reminder, energy, and everything is energy. When you listen to this, is energy. When you see a commercial or something that stresses you out, that is energy. It's different type of energy. When you have a conversation with someone, it's also energy. Everything is energy. But in energy healing, you can have such incredible results. And I feel so strongly about bringing this in, and I'm certified in more modalities. I don't even know, must be 10 at this point, and I have various levels in many of them. And I used to be someone who said, I'm not interested in energy healing. What is that for? What is that about? 5, 6 years ago, that was me, and I genuinely didn't know. So that's why I always bring it in, because I want everyone to know that the energy healing is so powerful because it goes wherever it needs to go. It's very intelligent and it can bypass the more stubborn mind, as long as that mind decides with their own free will, I want this and I'm open. That is a requirement, of course. And what is happening right now, the veil between the conscious, the subconscious is thinning. The veil between us as the character and our soul, our higher self, is thinning. So right now, even in an energy healing, in an energy transmission, in a conversation like this, people can just start getting downloads and information, and they can have visions and see past lives or resolve things. If something heavy comes and leaves you, it's because something was released. And it's very beautiful because we live in a time when everything is moving so fast. So ultimately, everything is about embodiment. It's about bringing that inner voice and the mind in balance, working together in harmony, in equality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, trusting each other, honoring the place that each of them have, taking inspired action without fear, allowing that your soul to give you everything that it wants, everything that you want, and allowing the mind to take inspired action, and without the fear, and by clearing the fear, taking the most inspired next steps that will take you where you want to get so much faster than the ego mind today, with all the strategizing and 3-year plans, can possibly do it. It doesn't mean, again, that you don't take action, but the quality of your action, where it's coming from, the thoughts behind it. In other words, the energetic match that you become with that which you desire is so different when you work with your intuition and you nourish that connection. So, with all of this, I think for everyone or anyone who is looking at all of this, and where I was when I said, gosh, I'm so exhausted, sometimes you could feel that you're going around in circles and that you're learning the same lessons over and over and over again, and you can feel a little bit defeated. And it's very powerful to know that all of us have our own personal lessons and our own personal topics that we struggle with. If you go on the Gene Keys website and you create a profile for yourself, and if it doesn't resonate, like anything here today or ever in the future, if it doesn't resonate, just drop it. But if you do your Gene Key profile, there is a sphere. There's one sphere there that will show you what is your biggest lesson for this lifetime. It won't serve it to you on the golden platter. It requires contemplation and understanding, and you won't see it if you're in your shadow. If you're still going through it, through the lower aspects of it, you won't see it. But if you're expressing some of it, if you're in the gift of it, you'll be able to see the shadow. You'll be able to see why it's hard for you. And just see if it resonates. But you can go there and you can check. But that is why some things are very easy for some and they're very hard for us. And the other way around, you always might hear people tell you, well, it's easy for you. Yes, that particular thing could be easy for me and it's very hard for them. But other lessons are hard for me and they're easy for them. But sometimes we feel like we're going around and around in circles, but we are actually not. When we feel that we're just going around, what is actually happening, we're going up on the spiral. And especially those themes that are the hardest to our soul, we just keep going up and up and up the spiral. And every time we make it to a next level, there is the lesson again. And every time we make it to another level, there it is again. And these are the type of lessons that will follow you at every single level and will be in your face at every single level. And if it gets really bad, and if your mind is starting to feel really uncomfortable, if something feels strange, off, you don't know what to do with it anymore, it's all going really bad. It must be that you're right, either be right before emerging on the next level, or if everything seems unfamiliar, you may have just made it at the next level and the mind doesn't know what to do with it because it's a completely new space. And even though it seems to you that you're going in circles and you're struggling with the same lessons, you are not. But by alchemizing those lessons and allowing your inner voice, your soul, to show you the way, and when it's the worst, you are on the verge of a major breakthrough. So just surrender and trust that that connection is enough. And trust that the universe is always benevolent. And trust that when it seems that everything is going off and everything is the worst, you are around the corner for the biggest breakthrough, because that's when it gets the worst, right before you make it to the next level. So it's such a beautiful thing to realize, because now we are no longer the person who always struggles with the same lessons. Now become the person who has certain themes that we are working on, and we are really good and exceptional at certain things, but there are those themes that come over and over again. And the more you surrender, the more it will heal. So, why do I always bring up this new earth? This new earth is a topic that showed up in Dolores Cannon books that she wrote probably 15 years ago, when the material came 20 years ago. The reason I bring up the new earth is, first of all, for me personally, feels very significant. For you, it doesn't have to be, take it or leave it. But here's the thing. Someone actually asked me, what is the new earth? I kind of censored what the comment that I got. And here's the thing. In order, at every point in time, we have different choices. But if we do not allow ourselves to imagine, to see in our mind's eye, and to feel the feelings of how it will feel to be there, to imagine, if we don't give ourselves permission to imagine the most outrageous world that we want to live in, if we block it, if we think, what is the point? This is so silly. What a silly exercise. That doesn't make any sense. But unless we give ourselves permission to dream of the highest version that we can possibly in, and later today in the little meditation that we have, we're going to tune in that version of you 3 months from now. But if we don't give ourselves permission to tune into the very, very highest possible version, if we don't give ourselves permission to shoot for the stars, you know how they say shoot for the stars and you may land on the moon. Well, if we don't give ourselves permission to see, to visualize it, to actually eventually know that we are meant to be that, and even more so, that we are already that, and how do we allow ourselves to get there? If we don't allow ourselves to go there, then we are blocking ourselves in where we are today. You see, in order to get there, you have to have outrageous dreams, outrageous expectations. Of course, you have to surrender how it looks like around you every step of the way. But you see, we came here, and especially in this lifetime, knowing that this is a lifetime like no other. We used to come and incarnate in these bodies, and we used to learn a theme and then go in the next lifetime and the next and the next. If you feel like me, like you've lived at least 7 lifetimes by now, and it's hard to keep track if there's 7 or 10, but there are definitely a lot of them, and they're no longer one or two, which is what you would read about in Dolores Cannon's books, for example, or past life regression books. It's because the time is moving much faster, it's because the planet is ascending, and it's because the energies in the sun and the solar activities are so high and so intense. It's reawakening DNA in our body, it's changing the way our body works, which influences the way our consciousness opens up. And it allows us to open up more and more and more and more to who we really are. And this is a lifetime like no other. And we came here knowing that we're going to meet each other, that we're going to remind each other who we really are, so that we together, because we are co-creating whatever is coming. It is not set. We are co-creating it through our choices, through our first and foremost, our individual choice of healing and transmuting any shadow in ourselves and being open to the most outrageously beautiful future that we want to see here. And we came here knowing that we will do that, and we are doing it right now. And that's why we are here together. And most importantly, when we came here, we knew that we have everything inside of ourselves to get it done, to do it, to be that, to remember, to connect. We knew we're going to do it. It is given, it is done. We're just remembering right now how to do it. So, in summary, and we're pretty close to the hour now. In summary, what we're talking about here is being aware of all the parts. There's the intuition, the whispers of your soul. There's the ego mind that can be, and we are right now, whether we want it or not, transmuting it into the divine masculine mind that takes inspired action, being open and honoring the divine feminine, the intuition, and being open to the prompts that our intuition is showing us. The next steps, what feels right, even if the mind is afraid. No, this really feels right. It's for me. I know it. I'm doing it. And understanding that we came here to be embodied, to be in this body, in this exact lifetime. We could have been anywhere in the universe, and we chose to be in this exact lifetime, in this exact body at this exact time to meet each other. And how extraordinary it is when you understand that. But it requires honoring all the parts that are involved and allowing them to heal. And when we do that, when we allow all the parts to take their rightful place where they are meant to be, the subconscious and all these things we're not aware of as we're going through this journey becomes conscious. And what comes in the light can be transmuted, and can be transmuted so much faster than we used to do it 1 or 2 years ago, or even half a year ago. The energies are helping us, and other people like me who have taken years to go through all of this have really paved the way so that someone else coming will not take years, will take 4 months or 7 months to get even faster, even further away that someone like me did. So through this process, this smaller human that we think we are becomes who we really are, becomes the higher self, our inner being, our unlimited awareness, still living in this body, still honoring the body, but being aware that this is not all we are, that we have other lifetimes. But most importantly, that this life and this body is the most important life of all, because we chose to be here, right now, because it's the most extraordinary time in the history of the earth right now, as a version of the earth is ascending. And through our personal choices and through our decisions, we can choose to align with that new earth, or we can choose to align with other agendas. And you see them around you, I'm sure. But we have a choice which one we want to align with, and keeping in community with those like us who are seeing this new earth, who know that that is more real than what we see around us, because we came here to be a bridge from what was especially our generation, to what is coming. And there are incredible new children coming in right now that are remembering and they will never forget. So we are here to usher them and architect the transition from what has been to where we are going. And that is why all of this is so important and the context is so important. And it's all about embodying that knowing and fully expressing it in the most aligning possible way with who you really are, with who you are here to express, who you came here to express. So you see, that's why I'm so fired up and I so would love everyone to feel excited about this because it's so exciting. And these topics that I am talking about today, it sounds like it's a lot, but you have to trust that within just a little while, all of this can, as long as you bring awareness to it, it picks up. It it takes a life of its own and it starts moving through you and through all these transmissions that your life is intersecting with, and it's moving so much faster than you ever thought possible. And even when you're connected, first, ultimately, everything is about choosing to trust that in the moments when we do not feel connected, in the moments when we feel I should know everything, I already know so much, I'm connected with my intuition, I know what I have to do, I know if something comes, how to pivot, I know how to manage my emotions, I know how to make different choices. Why is it not happening today? Is really when you nourish this relationship with your intuition, that layer of trusting that the universe is benevolent, that you are right, you're where you're meant to be in every single moment of every single day, that you're going through the lessons that you need to go right now, even if your mind would much rather escape, that trusting in the divine timing that everything comes to you when it's meant to come to you, and you surrender to that. This trusting becomes the mechanism that runs through you and runs your life and makes the decisions for you. And this is why all of this is so beautiful. This is why connecting with your inner being, it's so important, because trust becomes the default. It's not the mechanism, but it's what feeds this mechanism of taking you to the next step and the next step and the next step. It just becomes the fuel that helps propel you forward in this lifetime. And of course, you can do it, and you already have it inside of you. Everything that you need is inside of you. You came here knowing that you have it. You came here remembering that, knowing that you will remember that you have it. And it is because you have it. You are already connected. And you can do this path alone and you can remember more of who you really are. But I personally took years to go through this journey, and I really feel for myself as well that we are not here to reinvent the wheel and each of us to take years to sort it out by ourselves. So if you would like support, if you feel that you'd like a community, a space to let all of this alchemize and go through you and move through you and do whatever it needs to do, and the awareness, and most of it is experiential. This is not really learning theoretical things. So much of this training is experiential, but I invite you to join the 12-week training. It's twice a day, Monday and Wednesdays, for 12 weeks. And I promise you, just the way I promised that dear, dear person that is just the most wonderful, one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. Just the way my higher self always sends me just the best, the best. Um, just the way I promised her that 3 months later, you will not recognize yourself. I can tell you without a doubt, you will not recognize yourself 3 months later. Your universe, your world, anything about it will no longer look the same. And we will go over connecting with our inner voice, clearing the pain body, talking about all those mind parts, and upgrading and integrating the inner child, and embodying really the highest version that you can possibly be, and understanding how all the parts come together. And what I notice the most with mostly what I do individual sessions for right now, it's for the most part just quantum healing hypnosis technique, the deep hypnosis. And another recalibration, that's a whole other thing. I'll tell everyone about on another occasion because it's very powerful. It changes the structure of your energetic body. It opens the galactic chakras and all of that. But other than those two things, I don't really do a lot of the things in individual sessions, but I always have people coming in individual session and asking, how do I know if it's the mind or the inner voice? How do I unblock these things? How do I clear this? How do I transform this? And I truly believe that if you or anyone else that you know that you can forward this, I'll make it available online. I'll send it to my list, to my newsletter. If you went through these 3 months, at the end of it, you will never again talk the same about you. You will never again see the world the same. And I really hope that if this resonates with you, whether you're in this meeting or later on, you join us because we are starting in 10 days from Monday in a week. And let's see what was here. And it would not be a true intuition connecting with our soul if we didn't go with the container that is with those who are feeling called to join. And we already have a couple of people here on the Zoom joining, and there'll be other people, and a few more people said they were interested. So I trust that everyone who is meant to be here will be here. But of course, it will not be a true inner voice intuition. I call it intuition training, but really, this is everything. It will be very intense, I know. But I promise you that 1 year from now, we are all going to be looking at all of this. And if today feels like, oh my gosh, this may be a lot, if it doesn't feel a lot, I can tell you it's quite a bit. But in my personal perspective, even 9 months, 12 months from now, we're going to be looking back at all of this. And I would not be surprised, definitely in 2 years, that we might thank ourselves from going through this and alchemizing this and understanding this. Because if you do that, I think truly believe 1 year from now, we might look back at this and think, gosh, I can't believe the world was one where we were talking about all of this. And definitely in the next 10 years, telepathy and other gifts are opening up and the new children are coming in and the world will be such a different landscape. But today, I feel that this is really something that is so powerful and really I've put years in of experience of working on myself or of working on others. But basically, we'll be talking everything about the intuition, the inner voice, all the things that I discussed today. We will be talking about clear senses because I went for years not knowing how my higher self talked to me and not knowing that I just know things and I feel them in my body. Once you understand the language of your soul, it's so much easier to get messages. You won't anymore have, the questions of, I can't connect with my inner voice. I don't know how to connect. And if you don't get an answer, you will understand why. And you will know that there are parts of you that are getting in the way. And you'll understand all sorts of states. So you don't think, I made things up. What is happening? And you'll understand the component, the contribution, and how energy plays into all of this. And I went to the energy piece a few times. And of course, I will discuss the new earth and 10 weeks from now, or rather 11 weeks from now, I'm open that I don't even know how the earth will look like. So that's why I'm saying this is just for the curious mind. But as we go, the container and those in there will dictate more than anything how we deviate from this. So the investment in exchange for the 12 weeks, and we're gonna do the meditation right on time, right about 1 hour in. So the investment into this is the $2,000 is 12 weeks, Monday and Wednesday at noon Eastern time. And I personally am not a big fan of social media, but I have been on Facebook a few times because I'm also on groups that others offer. And I do want to offer a group, and Facebook is free. And my website, even for this event today, had all sorts of things happening, and I don't want to create a community on my website. I could, but there will be some sort of community, and really it will be the most well-rounded intuition training that will cover everything. Everything you could possibly get from an intuition training, from a hypnotherapy training, from working with all sorts of things, with therapies, with energy healing, and you'll really see how the puzzle falls together and how everything comes together to connect you with yourself. Also, if you're watching this, and I know there might be a couple of people watching, and it could be from Romania, the price will be adjusted for price parity because it's very important to me. But we're going to have 3 extraordinary months in February, March, and April. And I promise you by May 1st, I'm so curious to know where you will be. So curious. So let's see what else. Oh, yes. So these are the bonuses here. I'm going to send this presentation, but the as bonuses, if you sign up by next Wednesday, the course starts on February 2nd. So we begin February 2nd. That's a Monday, from Monday in a week. If you sign up by next Wednesday, you have access to the future self activations that I will do monthly when we go in the beginning of every month and we really activate and energize and look at that month, ongoing month that is coming, and see what is the the highest possible version of ourselves, and we energize it and we take advice from it, and we write it down. And so those 3 monthly activation will be complimentary for everyone who registered. And then there will be two immersion workshops, each of them 4 hour. And right now, I think it's one in February and one in March. And again, it really depends on where everyone here is, but it will definitely be one very intense 4 hour intuition with a little break maybe in the middle. So you can actually go as deep as possible, because when I work in person with people for 4 to 5 hours in the deep hypnosis sessions, when you're in a space and an energy for so many hours, you go deeper than you've ever gone before. And if you ever did like me half marathons, I never got to run a marathon, but I did a few half. And you've ever seen the training schedule for those, there's always the long run. There's always the long run that happens probably on Sundays for people. And you always have to keep increasing that. And the more you run in the long run, then the more resilient you become, and you can run more in the shorter ones. And this is why these immersion workshops will be for. We'll see what the topics are. And then, of course, if you know anyone who is interested, it will be 10% off for each referral. And I would really so much appreciate it if you could spread the word, because this time we are doing it this way, and this group that is happening right now will be like no other group in the future, because the next 3 months and the next 3 months increments will be doing other things that will be building on top of this. And so this is very exciting to be starting the year with this. My intuition wanted that Monday, and it's a 2-2 portal. Um, So if you wrote down any questions, I cannot see because of the presentation. I'm really sorry, just the way the Zoom is. But I'm going to answer the questions. It's just look at that. I know I went really fast, but I also said I would do my best to finish this part in 1 hour. And it's been exactly 1 hour since we started. I know I spoke really fast, so thanks for being here. So if you wrote any questions, I'm going to answer them, but let's just, in case someone needs to drop after the 90 minutes, I will answer them anyway, and I will check them in a little bit. I will answer the written questions or the recording, and then if anyone else has questions written, or you want to raise your hand or say something, if you want to, you can go ahead. But let's just do the future self meditation first, because I want to make sure we do this and you're here in the energy. And if you're watching the recording later, that's fine as well. So wherever you are, I suppose I could have given you a heads up for the restroom break, but I trust that everyone is where they need to be. So wherever you are, you can make yourself comfortable if you want. You can sit on the chair, on the sofa, or somewhere else more comfortable if you prefer, or stay where you are. And just take a minute to drop into our hearts. In case I have a feeling that at least one person is moving around a bit. So let's just give it a minute and just drop into our hearts. So just drop all your attention from the head to the heart. Drop all your attention from the head to the heart and drop into your heart. And with every exhale, just imagine there's this little tiny spark of light that dropped into your heart. And with every exhale, just blow the air through your mouth. And as you're blowing the air through your mouth just a few times to relax the body, every time you exhale through your mouth, you relax your body even more and you go even deeper into relaxation. And you relax every muscle, every nerve in the body, just relaxing your body and dropping into your heart. And in the heart, you notice there's a tiny little spark of light. And as you blow the air out about 3 times with the next 3 breaths, this spark in the heart is growing bigger and bigger. And it surrounds your heart and it keeps growing. And it surrounds your chest. And it surrounds your whole body. And you're fully surrounded in this light. And drop in your heart even more. And through your legs and your feet, just imagine that you're extending roots in the Mother Earth, in the ground, and just extend the roots. And in your mind's eye, see yourself extending these roots and going down, down, down through all the layers, making it to the center of the planet, the core, the crystal core, the heart of the Mother Earth. We wrap around her 3 times. We anchor in this beautiful planet that is our home for this lifetime. You start coming up, up, up through all the layers, entering your body, through the feet, through the legs, up your spine. You feel this beautiful, nourishing energy coming from the Mother Earth. And through the top of your head, you place all your awareness and attention in a ball of light on top of your head. And from there, you keep lifting higher and going higher. We're going past layers of light and dark and light and dark, past the realm of the archangels, the ascended masters, the higher selves, going even higher and even higher past the laws of this universe, past the beautiful pink mist, the pink mist of compassion. And may we have compassion for our journey today and always. And through a portal of white light, you go straight through that, and you find yourself in a pure white light. And you feel this pure white light all around you. And it's the brightest white you've ever seen, the purest vibration that there is, the vibration of source, of all that is, creator, that all that is. And as you're there, you're noticing the white becomes even whiter and even brighter. And you feel it surrounding all your body. And you feel yourself being wrapped in a cocoon of white light. And you feel it going through your skin and through your body, through your bones, touching every cell in the body with this pure white light that is the light of you at source before you've ever left. It's your light. And in this purest white light, we ask and thank you to let go of everything that no longer serves us, everything that no longer serves us, everything that we don't need today. Any attachment, cords, fears, anything that we can release right now, we ask that it be dropped. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. And with the next exhale, just allow it to drop. Just the way you would see snowflakes flowing on a warm ground and melting immediately. Everything you no longer need just falls to the ground in this beautiful white light cocoon ground and gets absorbed and gets melted in this white light, transmuted to white light. And from this place of feeling more clear, more bright, Let's just connect with your future self on May 1st, 2026, 3 months from now. It's a little bit over 3 months, but let's just say May 1st. And we ask to be connected with your highest available future self, the highest timeline, the absolutely highest potential. And as you ask, you imagine and you see and you know that in front of you there's this beautiful being of light. And it's really bright. And you feel the warmth of this being. And this is you just 3 months from now. And you feel the warmth of this being. And this being is everything that you want to be. Everything that you want to be. And just think about this for a moment. If you knew that everything you wanted was going to happen, if you thought it is done, it is given, it's destined, it is happening, there's no other choice. Look at yourself 3 months from now. It's May 1st. It's 3 months from now. And where are you 3 months from now? And just allow yourself, if this is new to you, to allow the first thing that comes to mind. Allow yourself to just connect with the first thing that comes to mind. And where are you and who are you with and what is happening around you? And we're going to go really fast because it's really just getting a little bit of glimpses of that, which already is. And what's been happening for the past 3 months? What happened? What changed? Where are you today on May 1st? And are you alone? Are you with others? What are you doing with most of your time? What is happening? Are you doing something that you love? Did you achieve something you've always wanted to, but the mind got in the way? But now you did it. The highest possible version of you that is right now has achieved it all. And what did you do? Did you change the job? Did you publish the book? Did you change apartments? Did you leave or start the relationship? Did you travel somewhere where you've always wanted to go? What changed? And how does it feel? And feel it because it already happened. How does it feel to be there? How does your body feel to be there? Just feel yourself there. Fully feel yourself there. Everything already happened. It's been 3 months. And you've done more things than you could have possibly imagined that you could achieve in the 3 months. And really feel the feeling of how it feels to be there. Feel how your body feels. And now I want you to look back as that, as the version of you. On May 1st, you're looking back at you in January, on January 23rd, 1 to 3, 2026. As the May 1st version, you're looking back at you. And how did you get from there to here? What changes did you make? What changed? What allowed you to get there? What did you do? What did you do to change from that person that you were in January? That identity? What changed in that identity that got you here? What choices did you make differently? Even if perhaps you were afraid, what did you choose differently that brought you here to the highest possible outcome? And as you're looking back at your dear younger self, that's 3 months younger, the one in January 2026, what would you like to tell her, him, What advice do you have for them? What do they need to go to do to get where you are right now? What is the highest aligned path for them? What kind of things they should do, even if they're afraid, even if they're hesitant, even if they don't know exactly how it will work out? What do you want them to do to change? And can you reassure that beautiful younger version of you that it will work out, that everything will be just fine, and show them how it will work out? And remind that version of you, it's already done. Just remember, it's already done. It's who you really are. Do not be afraid. And if you're afraid, just go with the fear because it's already yours. And it's me. And any last thing that you want to tell that younger version of you from January, just tell them now. The first thing that comes to mind, just tell them. And with your next inhale, I want you just inhale a little bit deeper. And as you inhale, just see yourself absorbing even more white light as that future version of you in May 1st. Inhale and absorb even more of the white light and absorb even higher potentials that never existed before. And absorb even more possibilities and opportunities to remember who you really are. And absorb even more of your source essence, the essence of who you really are, the purest vibration that there is. And with your next exhale, just make it a little bit louder and deeper, and exhale all the air out. And as you exhale, see yourself dropping through the layers of vibration, to the beautiful pink mist of compassion as the version of you on May 1st. Dropping through the beautiful pink mist of compassion, and may you have compassion for yourself and others now and always. And dropping even more and even more. And from, as you are dropping from where you are, through the top of your head, through the crown, you're entering the body, fully entering the body, through the head, through the throat, to the chest, through the belly, arms and legs, fully filling up this suit with that version of you that you already are, the highest available future self. 3 months from now, and you're fully embodying this body right now, right here. And feel how it feels to be that, knowing that you are already that. And feel it spread throughout your whole body, every cell of the body, recognizing that this is you at a future point and this is you now. And allowing that to unfold, to activate any dormant DNA, anything and everything in the body, to be removed that no longer serves you. This future version of you coming in kicks out everything that doesn't align. And you fully feel yourself landed in this body. And you can put your hands on your heart. And with your hands on your heart, you can give your younger you, the one that was here today, earlier today, you can give them a hug and allow them to melt into your heart, forever loved, forever cherished, for they brought you right here. But now you are the one leading the next 3 months because you are already that and fully in this body. And with the next exhale, extending this energy through the legs and the feet, extending it through the Mother Earth, through all the layers, going deeper and deeper and deeper, and wrapping around the highest available timeline, the timeline of the new Earth, if that's appropriate, but the highest available timeline for you, anchoring that version of you in the highest timeline. And feel that version of Earth responding and sending back up so much love, and it's entering your body and it's surrounding you in a cocoon, reminding you that you are so loved and so welcome, on this planet at this time, feeling the gratitude of the Mother Earth for anchoring your vibration, your source energy here right now, supporting the ascension of the planet, your ascension, the ascension of all that is in this lifetime right now. And take a deeper inhale, and as you exhale, allow that energy to spread through your heart and surround you and surround your aura, and fully surrounded, fully embodied as that version of you, fully knowing that that is already you, that it is done, that it already happened, as that version that you already are. Whenever you're ready, open up your eyes and come back, come back, come back. And as you're coming back, I really could have stopped the sharing before, and I did not. But now it stopped, so now I can see everyone. And I can even see Kathy. Hi, Kathy. I saw you entering, but we had started. Thanks for staying till the end. And a few people mentioned they had to leave. And if you're still here and you want to hop on, you can do so. Let me see if there are any questions or messages. Hi, Jeff. Oh, Stephen had to job. He already mentioned. Yes. Oh, yes, Tracy. I already told Tracy it will be recorded. Yes, this is recorded and I'll add it to the mailing list. Katie, welcome back. And I don't see any questions there. Does anyone have any questions? And I could just stop. I'm going to stop the recording now. If anybody watching the recording has questions, please feel free to reach out. And I do have a lot of clarity call spots open next week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday afternoon in particular. I have a few spots. So if anyone has questions, please reach out. Oh, the recording for the intuition workshop. Yes, everything will be recorded and you will have access to the recording after. It's meant to be about, thank you for that question, Tracy. Or I think Tracy asked, right? Yeah. Thank you, Krista. Yes, it will be recorded and the recording will be provided so everyone can join for however long they can. I'm expecting it will take 2 hours every day, but we will see how it goes. There's definitely going to be hot seats and a lot of exercising as well, so we can also embody and see how it feels like. But we're also going to go, so we're going everywhere. So there will be recording, and you can watch the recordings, and you will have access. I think I will put it on what do you call it? Google. Gosh, I forgot. Google Classroom. Sorry, I took myself to the theater and I'm just coming back in the body now, but everything is recorded. Yes, so everyone can join. And once we start, everyone will be connected anyway, and you will get the benefits whether you're there or not. And if there are any time constraints at any point, we probably can't do this every day, just to kind of rotate if anyone has questions, but definitely I'm very open to accommodating if someone really has to go, and you can always ask for that as well. But yes, there will be a recording, not a recording, there'll be 24 recordings, I guess. um all right, so that's it. I'm gonna stop this recording. Thank you everyone for watching from the future, and then I'll see if anyone in the room has other questions.